Living without a toilet facility at home can be a harrowing experience for anyone. 15-year-old girl who suffered and later recovered from clutches of typhoid fever, Abena, narrates her ordeal during a visit to her home.
I got to know I had typhoid fever because I had the symptoms, vomiting, defecating around, and feeling dizzy. So I was rushed to the St. Martin's Hospital before we identified the disease that is affecting me. It affected me in so many ways, such as my education. I missed classes. I couldn't write some of my mock exams ahead of the BEC, and it also affected me in my BEC.
And then for that matter, she's not been coming to classes. As a result, it affected her because it even skipped one of his mock subjects. It skipped her. So it has affected her seriously. So we are only hoping that he will do well in the exams.
It also affected my friendship. People didn't want to come close to me. I couldn't get close to people because they noticed that typhoid fever is a transmitted disease. So people were afraid to get close to me.
I was really worried because I'm a single mother with 4 kids. For the other 3, I have to pay their school fees and all other things, including hospital bills for Abena. The situation really took a toll on me, and I couldn't even go to the market because I couldn't leave her alone at home.
When the journalist came to the community, I met him and I narrated all my story to him.
The plight of Abena and her family was brought to the attention of the Ministry of Sanitation in Ghana, thanks to a media report filed by Mr. Joseph Kobla Wemakor.
Hi, my name is Joseph Kobla Wemakor. I am a journalist, a UN Sustainable Development Goals advocate, a trained climate change proponent, a youth leader, and a global human rights activist.
23rd of June, we saw this publication by Joseph Kobla Wemakor, which was, we told is a human rights reporter. And we saw this dilemma of a 15-year typhoid patient. Now, you see, this is the message that we've been talking about, that if you don't have access to improved toilet facility, the consequences are far-reaching. And having typhoid is just a typical example of somebody who has taken on board somebody's feces. Now, having typhoid also means that there's the potential that such a person will be spreading the disease. And in an environment where the report indicates that they do not have access to toilet facility and open defecation.
Okay, so that is what our conversation this morning will be based on, talking about sanitation, adequate sanitation facilities in the country, as that is also a basic human right that every other person in the country needs to have. And according to the WHO, approximately 5 million Ghanaians do not have access to adequate sanitation facilities, and open defecation is part of that, and that's what evolves and gets people to, like Abena, as we saw in the video, to fall sick, and a lot of things happening in their lives. So this one will be talking about that, and my guest is Joseph Kobla Wemakor. As you saw him in the video there, he's the Executive Director of Human Rights Reporters Ghana, and also we've got Engineer George Asiedu, who's the coordinator of the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Sanitation and Water Project under the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. Gentlemen, good morning and Happy New Year to you. Looking at the video, a lot of people will not know or do not know that access to basic stuff like that is a human right. Because human rights, now people will be thinking a lot of other things rather than this. So how do we, continue to make that awareness to people that, what, this is a basic human right and every person needs to have that?
Yes, so I think it should be a multifaceted responsibility, something that we should all share in. It shouldn't be one person, because if you are talking about proper sanitation, having basic sanitation facilities. It will depend, having good health, environmental sustainability, public health, and all that. It behoves on us, humans, or individuals, to also play our part, and then government should also play its part. And the problem is, this is a very pressing issue. Somebody not having a toilet facility at home. It's a harrowing experience, as depicted in the video that you have watched. The teenager, what she has to go through because of not having toilet facility, which should be a basic human right. So I think government ought to prioritize and invest in sanitation infrastructure.
Okay.
And the bylaws, the use of laws to regulate people, so that households, landlords, and the owners of properties, household properties, should also be, disciplined to do what is right. Yeah.
When you were telling this story, what was the motive for it? Or did you think that the results came too soon? Or what was going through your mind when you were putting together this?
I never thought I would get a quick result. To me, it was one of those stories that I have told. I have told quite a number of stories, impact stories, stories that touches on the plight of the ordinary Ghanaians, yet I haven't seen any outcome. But this one came to me as a surprise when I got a response from the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, particularly GAMA, Greater Accra Metropolitan Area, Greater Accra Metropolitan Area and Sanitation Project under Engineer George Asiedu. And that was something that blew my mind. And ever since they contacted me, by now they have been able to put up a proper sanitation facility, toilet facility for this victim and the family. And it is something very commendable, I must say. We've always said that government is not doing well. Yes, we lambast government, yes. But if somebody has done something good, you need to praise the person. In this particular encounter, I would say government has done very well. Yeah.
Engineer George, so let me come to you then. Before this report, over the years, your outfit, what had been some of the things you were doing and the challenges that you faced with making sure that people have access to basic, sanitation facilities?
So, first of all, let me take the opportunity to wish your cherished viewers a Happy New Year. You will recall that in 2015, there was an outbreak of cholera in this country, where over 200 people lost their life. And an outbreak of such a pandemic is an indication of poor environmental sanitation. And this was what gave birth to the GAMA Sanitation and Water Project. Because government of the day then sought to find a solution to the poor environment, a solution to this pandemic. And all the reports indicate that it was a result of poor sanitation. And so the World Bank, in collaboration with the government, came up with the GAMA project with the objective of increasing access to improve toilet facilities. The idea is that what caused the pandemic, we should work on it and ensure that a lot more people have access to this facility. So over the years, we've been working in Greater Accra. Metropolitan area means that we only excluded just a few districts. But we are looking at we are concentrating on the greater portion of Greater Accra. This project started from 2015, like I said, from the onset of the pandemic. And our target was to ensure that about 19,100 households will have access to toilet. We are targeting the low-income beneficiaries. And let me also stress here that when we talk of human rights, one of the issues that hinder human access is poverty. When people are not having means to other things, they will not prioritize sanitation. So we realize that the low-income people are the most hit, and they are the vulnerable. Okay. So the project was prepared to target the low-income beneficiaries. Okay. And we're supposed to give about 19,100. We ended up in 2020 providing 28,541. So our objective of increasing assets was achieved. Okay. So when we heard this story, we realized that this is a community which is vulnerable. They do not have access to toilet, and the prevalence of typhoid is an indication that this is a poor environment. So we quickly have to come in, first of all, to curb the situation, and also to sell out to the people around that there is the need to have access to improved toilet facility to avoid typhoid that has far-reaching consequences.
Okay, great. I'm curious to know, as you provide the toilet facilities to these people, we know that, as you mentioned, poverty, they are living in places where they're densely populated. They already have closed homes and all that. So how do you provide on a community basis, or you tell the landlords to provide? And I'm thinking, where's the space in the home for them to even put that?
That is a very excellent question. And this is the success story of the GAMA project. When we came in, we assessed the situation and we realized that, first of all, it's a peri-urban community. In fact, it's an urban, but our low-income people were living with the peri-urban settlement. Okay. And their taste is very high. And so if you have to give them an improved toilet facility, the immediate thought is that they need to have a WC facility. Okay. And that takes a lot of space. And most of them do not even have the space. They don't even own it. So we came out with innovative solutions. That is where the engineering comes in on board. We explored all the possible technology, toilet technology options, and we came out with the biodigester. The biodigester takes just about 1 feet of the space required for a septic tank toilet facility. Okay. But the features of a biodigester toilet is the same as that of the septic tank. When you enter, and I tell you that this is not a septic tank, you wouldn't realize that. But then the containment, what is receiving the fecal matter, is a biodigester system which takes a very small space. So we're able to apply this in the low-income environment. Okay. And then even if a single room, even in a kiosk, we can place it there and then just give the digester behind. And this is what helped the project to allow a lot more people to have access to these facilities. In the peri-urban settings, the issue you raise is a concern. They don't have the space. And so the biodigester takes a very small, in fact, the dimension of the digester is just about 1 meter square. You don't take 1.6 to 1 meter square. So you don't take much space. And that is why we're able to produce it in almost every corner within the heavy settlement. Okay. And the low-income people have also come to accept it. Okay. It's working well, and I would think that we are promoting this. According to the census 2021, about 6% of the population are now using the biodigester. I'm hoping that by the next 10 years, this will be a greater proportion in the country.
Okay, that's quite interesting to note there. Let me get back to you. Looking at the numbers, how the WHO says 5 million, that's quite a hefty number, a huge number. Something like what GAMA is doing here, how do we replicate that across the country to make sure that, because I mean, I've lived in Cape Coast, Takrady, I know what happens. You go to the beach, you see what happens in those places. How do we replicate that? And you as someone championing this, how are you making sure that it's just not going to be in the Greater Accra region, I beg your pardon, but across the country or so?
Okay, so I think this question should have been going to engineer, but then let me bring my small mind to bear here. I think they were working under a World Bank funded project, and that also gives them the mileage to be able to extend to cover, I think, Greater Accra and Kumasi metropolis, and what they are doing, So based upon what they have done, I think they need support. They need support from government, beyond government, maybe even international organizations, World Bank, multinational organizations stuff sort of should come in. I am appealing that they should come in and give much more support to government. For that matter, Ministry of Sanitation.
Yeah,
and Water
I understand that. And I
yeah.
mean, since you told the story of this young lady that got the the response from GAMA, thinking that if you move around more, then we'll get lots of responses also from the others. But Engineer, back to you. What are the dangers really? Because when you talk to some of our folks, they really don't see anything wrong with going to the sea or not having any. Obviously, if you say there is the room that is needed, the toilet in there, you go and find them somewhere and go to. What are the dangers really of not having basic and adequate sanitation facilities in a home?
See, one of the dangers is what was experienced by the lady. A lady who had to miss her mock. She was lucky that it was mock, not the real exams. And then the parents also lamented on some of the effect to them. And as an individual, your health is very important. And so you must ensure that you live in an environment that will ensure that you have your health in a good state and to be able to do your day-to-day activities.
Okay.
And so putting it together as an economy, we need a healthy country, a healthy environment, a healthy people to be able to push this economy forward. And so if you have a country like the COVID, look at the impact of COVID in our society. As of now, most people are yet to recover from the effect of COVID. So if you have an outbreak of cholera or typhoid or dysentery or any sanitation related diseases, it means that your whole life is going to crumble and you cannot be able to make progress. So everybody should take sanitation serious. It is a collective responsibility. Government will play its part. You, the individual, will have to also play your part. That is why we are doing a lot of education. And that is the reason why we have to quickly respond to this lady's case. Because it is the means of communicating to the people around her that the cause of this is due to poor sanitation. And so everybody must have access to it. So government is doing that. And let me also try to answer the question that you said. We've gotten a vehicle that is turning out a greater number of toilet facilities in our community. We have SDG Goal 6 to achieve in 2030. We are in 2024, we have just 6 years to go. So the Ministry of Sanitation has taken it seriously to see how best we can even improve on the GAMA approach and be able to scale up this project. So discussions are still underway, and I'm aware that government is taking steps to scale up the project beyond Accra and Kumasi to other regions. As we speak, a lot of projects have been prepared to also take on board the same approach in the northern region, which is rated to have one of the highest open defecation rate. So government is making effort through the Ministry of Sanitation, and we are getting very good support from the World Bank. And so we think that this scale up will be achieved within the shortest possible time.
Okay, that's great to hear. So Joseph, as this looks like something that will bring more positivity to our communities. Moving on, what is your plan really?
Well, I just before I get to answer your question, I would like to say that when journalists are able to shed light on issues like this, and then we get government organizations, agencies responding like this, it tells you that government is waking up to reality, is doing something to help. Because if you do the story and nothing comes out of it, then it means you are just working in vain. So I would like to, first of all, applaud the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for this particular intervention that they have come out with that has helped the girl's family. And our outfit will not just stop over there. Commendation or kudos to Center for Science and Health Communication, because they have trained us journalists, and I was part of those over 30 journalists that received this particular training. And out of that, I'm happy to say my story stood out, and that was what brought about this change that has come in the life of this teenager. Now, going forward, we will not rest on our laurels. We will explore and fish out where it is important for such people who lack or lack access to sanitation, basic sanitation facilities. Because we as an organization knows that it's a basic human right for individuals, citizens to have toilet facilities in their homes. And in the absence of toilet facilities, including other basic sanitation facilities, it's a violation of human rights. It constitutes a violation of human rights, the right to health, dignity, and privacy.
Okay. Well, actually, I thought you were done. No, I thought you were done. If you...
So, I also like to add something here. We are talking about recognition. A lot of people are getting recognized, but they were not duly being recognized, if I may put it that way. I think GAMA ought to get that kind of recognition, a national award for doing their best, because they have been able to spot out something, not just spot out something and fix it. They are doing quite a lot. Based upon the account given by engineer, tells me that they are doing something. I've had an opportunity to be at the recent review meeting, end of the year review meeting, and they touch on this project, and I've realized that they are doing something good.
Well.
Yeah. And that also corroborates the work that I have done that has also made an impact. So I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Great. Well, if you just joined the conversation, we're talking about the provision of basic sanitation facilities as a very important thing for every household and the community at large. And as we wrap up on the conversation, I'll take the final words from Engineer George on everything going on in 2024, some of the plans they've got through, and then Joseph will talk about some great stuff that you received, and honor that you received. Engineer, as we wrap up, any final thing you want to add? So
yes, I would like to urge our viewers that sanitation is a collective responsibility. Please look around your environment and help in the communication. If your neighbor does not have toilet and they are doing open defecation, please add your voice and stop there. You may have access to toilet in your home, but the fact that your neighbor is going beyond his right and doing open defecation, the tendency is that it's likely to affect you, because when there is an outbreak, even though you have toilet in your home, you can easily be affected. So all must be on board. Please add your voice, educate your neighbors, and help in the fight against open defecation. Government is playing their role. They are subsidizing this access to toilet facility. Government is taking about 80% of the cost, because they want you to have the access to avoid any sickness, which will call for government investment in drugs and at the hospital costs. So please own a toilet. Go to your assembly. Every assembly that you are in Kumasi and in Accra, just go and indicate your interest. They will visit you upon paying a little money, 1,200 or 700 Ghana cedi, and then the rest will be paid. You also have access to toilets, and you help to build a clean Ghana.
Okay, Engineer, thank you so much. And Joseph, your recognition that you received for this role that you're playing in public health.
Okay, I must say that ever since this story came to the public domain, and prior to that, the response of Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, which GAMA directly took part. Based on that documentary, it was because of this intervention that the documentary we just watched was produced. And guess what? The Center for Science and Health Communication received a funding from an organization in South Africa, National Resource Foundation in South Africa. And they were not the only organization that received this funding. It was something global. And from Ghana, this is the story that had made an impact. You can imagine. So this documentary traveled all over the world. It first went to South Africa, and then from there, it traveled all over the world. Is that not a recognition of my good work?
Yeah, that's
for the first time, this recognition in Ghana has, travel across the whole world, based upon other ones that we have received, global or whatever, but this particular one has really, made us trend.
So it's based on that.
Yes. So it tells me that this is an area, and looking at also the work on the ground.
Okay.
Knowing the kind of violation in terms of rights, people's right to health, dignity, privacy, it means something has to be done. Based upon the statistics that you have brought out on World Health Organization, we state that approximately 5 million Ghanaians still lack access to basic sanitation facilities, and open defecation remains what a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. So based on that, we cannot rest on our laurels, but to keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
So we will be working in collaboration with the ministries, to ensure that they also achieve their target. By so doing, we can also ensure environmental sustainability and public health.
Okay, great. Yeah. And Engineer, you're also honored for spearheading public health promotion. That's quite a good one, and congratulations to you on that. And I'm sure that will spur you on to do a lot more for your people, so that you get more honest in that sense. Thank you so much for coming through. So Engineer George Asiedu is with GAMA, that's the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Sanitation and Water Project under the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. You heard from him. And also Joseph Wemakor is the Executive Director of Human Rights Reporters Ghana, an NGO shedding light on the fact that we need basic sanitation facilities, toilet facilities for our homes and our communities. So that's our wrap up this conversation. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're doing sports. AFCON starts tomorrow, and we've got the action live here on Metro TV, Original TV, and also Original 91.9 FM. So don't go nowhere. We'll be back with some sports updates.